Okay, picture this. An island that's 3 times the size of Texas. And get this, over 80% of it is just buried under a massive sheet of ice. We're talking about Greenland, of course. And for decades, the United States has, believe it or not, tried to buy it. So let's dig into why.
So what is it that makes this giant frozen island so unbelievably valuable? I mean, it might just look like a remote, icy outpost, right? But Greenland, oh, it sits right at the crossroads of climate change, global trade, and military power. In this explainer, we're going to break down exactly why this island has turned into a multi-billion-dollar strategic prize.
And you know, this isn't some new, fleeting idea. Oh no, the US has been interested for a long time. We're talking all the way back to 1946, when President Truman put $100 million on the table. And then, much more recently, the idea popped up again, which just goes to show you there's a deep, persistent American strategic interest in this Arctic giant.
All right, let's get into it. The first piece of the puzzle, and maybe the most dramatic one, is all about its geography. See, the Arctic is warming up, and it's happening fast. As all that ice in Greenland starts to melt, it's literally, and I mean literally, redrawing the map of the world.
So as those polar ice caps shrink, brand new shipping lanes are opening up. You've got the Northwest Passage, the Northern Sea Route, routes that have been frozen solid for basically all of modern history. This is a complete game changer for global logistics. And guess what's sitting right at the crossroads of all these new routes? Yep, Greenland.
And just look at what this means in practice. We're talking about a huge jump in efficiency. A trip that normally takes, say, 34 days through the Suez Canal. Well, using this new Northern Sea Route, you could slash that down to just 20 days. That is a massive, massive disruption to global trade as we know it.
And that number, right there, that's the bottom line. A potential 40% cut in shipping time. Can you imagine? That would save companies billions, with a B, in fuel and time. And it makes Greenland the de facto gatekeeper to the commercial superhighways of the 21st century.
But, you know, it's not just about trade. Not by a long shot. Greenland's location makes it absolutely critical from a military standpoint, both for the United States and for its allies.
Way up north, deep inside the Arctic Circle, you'll find Thule Air Base. And this place, it's a cornerstone of North American defense. Its powerful radar systems are basically the continent's eyes and ears, our first line of defense, constantly scanning the skies for any missile threats from adversaries like Russia or North Korea.
Now, take a look at this, because it shows a really stark imbalance in the Arctic. Russia has a massive fleet. We're talking over 50 icebreakers, which are absolutely essential for navigating and controlling these icy waters. And the US? We have 2. Just 2. That huge gap makes a forward presence in Greenland absolutely vital for projecting influence and, for securing NATO's entire northern flank. And hey, if you're finding this breakdown of global strategy useful, be sure to subscribe for more explainers just like this one. So, okay, this strategic positioning isn't just about controlling sea lanes today. It's also about securing access to what lies beneath the ice, a treasure trove that could really define the economies of tomorrow.
And this is where things get really interesting, because we're talking about what might be the most lucrative piece of the entire puzzle. What's buried deep, deep beneath all that ice? We're talking about a potential treasure trove of natural resources. So, right now, Greenland's economy is pretty much all about one thing: fishing. I mean, it makes up a whopping 90% of its exports. But as that ice continues to melt, it's starting to reveal a future potential that could completely dwarf its current economy. Get this. The island is believed to hold absolutely vast deposits of the world's most critical minerals. We're talking about rare earth elements, the stuff that's essential for, well, pretty much everything. Think about your smartphone, electric cars, even advanced weapons systems. And that's not even mentioning the significant reserves of copper, nickel, and potentially a whole lot of oil and gas.
So here's the crucial point. Let this sink in for a second. Just one single deposit in Greenland could potentially supply 10% of the entire world's demand for rare earths. Having control over these resources, well, that could dramatically shift global supply chains and really cut down on the West's reliance on current suppliers like China.
Okay, before we move on, I just want to pause here for a second. This is our humble effort to decode a really complex subject, and it's purely for educational purposes. This is not a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold anything.
So, what happens when you put all of this together? You take the strategic location, you add the military importance, and you throw in that vast mineral wealth, and suddenly, Greenland isn't just a remote island anymore. It becomes the center stage for a new kind of global competition.
And you can really see the competing ambitions playing out in the Arctic. On one hand, you have the US and NATO, and they're focused on deterrence, on securing that northern flank. But on the other hand, you've got Russia and China, and they see a huge opportunity for expansion, a chance to control new trade routes and establish their own military and economic footholds in the region.
So where does all this leave us? What does it all mean? Well, the future of this one massive island could have implications that ripple out across the entire globe.
Really, the bottom line is this. Greenland's destiny is now completely tangled up with three of the most powerful forces on the planet: the speed of climate change, our world's insatiable hunger for resources, and, of course, the constantly shifting balance of power between nations. And that leaves us with a really critical question for the future, doesn't it? As this massive new frontier opens up before our eyes, will it become a beacon of international cooperation for everyone's benefit, or is it destined to become the front line of a new 21st century Cold War fought over shipping lanes and mineral rights? So what do you think is going to happen? We'd genuinely love to hear your thoughts down in the comments. You know, creating these explainers is really a passion for us, and if you found this breakdown valuable, subscribing is the absolute best way to support what we do. Honestly, it gives us the motivation to keep digging into these topics.
And as always, thanks so much for joining us. Now just a quick reminder, this explainer is for educational purposes only. It's not financial advice of any kind, and the channel isn't responsible for any losses. We always ask you to please consult with your financial advisor before making any decisions. Thanks again.